Welcome back to another class, right? Once again, and hope you all had a great week, right? So, uh, uh, so today, students, what are we trying to do is right now. Last week we actually completed the entire production process, okay, and we actually I took a very nice example of the tea industry and I connected it with the production process or the input output process, right? So that was a very practical exercise that we did together, right? So from that all of you all learned a lot, right? So now that we have a very good understanding about the production process, right? If anyone who missed it, you all can log into my YouTube page, right? So every week I put the session recording, right? So last week's recording you can check in the latter part of the session. You can have a look on that practical explanation, right? So anyone who missed it, okay? And today, students, we have a very small part to complete, which is connected with the production process, which is called added value, right? So our plan for today is, right? Right. Our plan for today is we will be completing added value part, which is remaining, and we will be completing the entire uh, tude, which is part A for lesson 1, right, which has been a very big lesson. So very big part of the lesson number 1. So we will be completing that part, and after that we will be doing past paper questions, right, which has been tested in the areas that we have covered in lesson number 1. Okay, so that is going to be our plan for today. All right, okay. So let's talk about added value, right? Let's talk about added value. Okay, right. Now, students, what do you mean by added value, right? Oh, value is being added. So as we always do, let's read the definition or let's read the description that has been given in the tude, right? Where you have to fill certain things as well, right? Okay. So basically, as a product moves, right, 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 as a product moves through different stages of production, that of course you know now, right? That of course you know, right? In the production process, right? You have the input stage, right? Where we will be using different types of inputs, different types of factors of production. We will be putting or using as inputs in this process, right? So basically, the product moves through different stages of production and you can fill the blanks stating that value is added. You can fill the blank value, right? You can fill the blank as value, right? Value is added at each stage, right? You can fill the blank out there, right? Now, students, what does that mean, right? When the product moves through different stages of production, value is being added. Now, last week we very nicely took the practical example of how tea powder is being processed, right? How tea powder is being processed. So very specifically, tea leaves are being plucked, right? Tea leaves are being plucked and brought into the plantation, right? Sorry, tea beans have been plucked and then brought into the factory, right? Brought into the factory, right? So that is at the input stage or raw material stage. Those tea leaves were brought into the factory, and in the factory we do a lot of activities, right? We do a lot of activities under processing, right? So we take these tea leaves and we dry them, right? And then we roll them, we sort them, right? Then we grade them, right? And after that once the processing is over, we would be packing them properly, right? We would be packing them uh, in an attractive package. And also not only that, right? We do a lot of branding, right? So likewise, students, uh, in a factory, a lot of activities do take place, right? And the product or the raw materials move from one stage to another stage, and then at the end of the process, we get a finished product, right? Or a finished good, where the value has been added. Value has been added, right? Okay, so this is called added value. This is called added value, where the product is being moved from one stage to another stage in the production process, right? And each stage will add more value to it so that you get a wonderful product at the end of the day, right? Okay, so for you to build a very good value added product at the end, there are lots of business activities that will also assist, right? Those things we discussed on different types of business functions, right? Not only production, marketing, administration, right? Finance, right? Then we have production, research and development, right? Information management, right? All those business functions will do certain activities or carry out certain tasks to make sure that the product is getting value at each and every stage. So this is called added value. Very simple. Okay, right. Now let's read. As a product moves through different stages of production, value is added at each stage. That is very important, students. You got to underline this as well, right? Right. Value is added at each stage. Raw materials are processed, they are improved or combined with other inputs. Can you remember? In the production process, right? Raw materials are not the only set of resources that we use, right? Okay. There are other types of inputs that we use, right? Land, labor, capital, entrepreneurship, information, time, knowledge, all those resources will add value, right? Added, which increases the worth. There you go. So it's a combination of all the activities. It's a combination of all the resources that you will be putting in, which will increase the value of your final product. So this is called added value. This is called added value. Okay, right. So students, when it comes to added value, there's a small formula that we need to understand, right? How to calculate added value. How to calculate added value, right? So first what we can do is we'll fill the blanks for the formula with the knowledge that we have. Okay, right. Added value, so you all can also fill with me. Added value is equal to the selling price, the selling price, right? Right, of a particular product, right? Selling price, right? Now we need to look the amount of value which is being created. So in that case, we need to uh, right. So from the selling price, we need to take out, right? We need to take out, right? The cost of, right? The cost of, right? The cost of production inputs. The cost of production inputs, right? Okay, right, right. From selling price, right? You have to take out, api adu karanna one, right? Right, very important, right? From selling price, you have to take out the cost of production inputs, right? Hold on, give me 1 second. right? Okay, right? Added value from selling price, you have to subtract the cost of production units, right? Cost of production inputs, right? Sorry, cost of production inputs, because you know now different types of inputs we will be using, right? Different types of inputs we will be using, right? Land, labor, capital, entrepreneurship, information, time, knowledge. Likewise, we will be using different types of production inputs, the inputs that is very specifically used for your production, right? Used for your production, right? Okay, right? So basically, for the production inputs, we can call it as what, right? Raw material, right? Right, right. Raw material and components, and components. Okay, right? Very important. Cost of the production inputs are, right? Very important, right? The cost that you incur, right? The cost that you incur for the inputs that you use for production. So very specifically, there are certain inputs, students, you might not be needed for direct production, right? Right. But there are certain inputs that you will need for direct production, like what? Mainly raw material. If you take raw material, directly you need for the production, right? Directly you need for the production, right? Right. Now, other inputs like what? Electricity, right? Transport, right? Right. Workers' wages and all those things, right? Are the other expenses that you incur, which is not directly into production, right? Right. Okay, directly into production, right? For production, we very specifically use raw material very directly, right? Very important, right? Okay, so anyway, how to calculate added value? From the selling price, we have to subtract the cost of production inputs, the cost of production inputs, right? Okay, so we'll do a small calculation, right? We'll do a small calculation for added value so that you can have a very good understanding, right? We'll do a small calculation, right? Okay. So we'll go to our uh, notepad. Okay. So this is what we discussed last week. Okay. Right. Right. Okay. Right. Right. Okay. Now just assume, right? Just assume, right? So we will do this calculation in a very practical way and we'll nicely take things forward, right? So as we take the tea company, right? Right. In example, right? As we take the tea company example, since we have been using that example, what do you call in our previous session as well, right? So that you are more familiar with that example, right? Okay. So let's say students, right? Let's say, right, the tea company, right, is buying fresh tea leaves, right? Buying fresh tea leaves because you need tea leaves, no? Right? Right. The tea company is buying fresh tea leaves, right? Right. Buying, right? Right. Buying tea leaves, right, for the production now to make tea powder, right? Right. Right. Buying fresh tea leaves. Let's say, I mean, let's make it simple, right? Let's say they're buying 100 grams, 100 grams, okay? 100 grams, right? Right. The company is buying fresh tea leaves of 100 grams, let's say for 500 rupees, 500 rupees, okay? 500 rupees, 500 rupees, right? It's LKR, okay? Right. 500 rupees, right? So this is actually the cost of raw material, no? Right? Cost of raw material, right? Right. And then after you process these tea leaves, right? Right, you do all those activities, right? According to the process that we discussed last week, you dry and you sort what do you call these tea leaves, and all those things are done. After that, you package them and then you are selling, right, 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 right. You're selling this tea powder. Let's say, let's say the selling price, right, right, the selling price, right, of this 100 grams, let's say, right, right, the selling price of this 100 grams of tea leaves, which is finished up, processed, everything is done. Let's say for 1,200 rupees, 1,200 rupees, right, 1,200 rupees, right, right, right. Now you can calculate the added value, right? You can calculate the added value. How to calculate added value, right? Right. Let's go to the note once again, right? Right. How to calculate added value, right? How to calculate added value? Selling price minus the cost of production inputs, right? Remember that selling price minus the cost of production inputs. Okay, simple, right? Okay, right? So what is the selling price? Which is 1,200. Okay, this is the selling price, right? This is the selling price, no, right? Right. From this selling price, you have to subtract the cost of production inputs, right? Right. The cost of production input. So in this example, I took, it's a very simple example. I took only the cost of raw material, right? Right. Which is tea leaves, but it could have some other production, direct production inputs as well, right? So we'll make it simple, right? So what is the added value then? Right. What is the added value? Added value, right, added value, right, is how much, is how much, how much from 1,200 you're going to deduct the production cost of the inputs, which is 500 rupees, and what's the answer? You have 700 as your added value. You have 700 rupees as your added value. You bought these fresh tea leaves, right, of 100 grams at 500, and after the production process is completed, now you have worth of 1,200 worth of what do you call tea powder which is being produced, tea powder which is being produced. So how much the value is created? Which is 700 rupees, which is 700 rupees. Okay, right, right. Okay, so now students, did you understand here? Did you understand up until now? Yes. All right. Okay, good, fine. Okay, now let's move to the note and just discuss once again what is remaining in the note, right? Okay, right. Okay, right. Right. Let's read. Right. By the time the final product is completed, right? By the time the final product is completed, right? Its selling price, right? Its selling price is usually higher than the total cost of the raw material and other production inputs, right? So very, very important, students, right? Now, can you remember, right? Our selling price, according to our calculation, the selling price of those 100 grams worth of tea powder was 1,200 rupees. But the cost that we incurred, the production cost that we incurred, very specifically the raw materials, which is tea leaves, right? Right? We incurred only 500 rupees, right? Okay, right? So on top of that, there could be some other production inputs which is coming into the picture, right? Okay. But anyway, students, right? When the final product is completed, usually your selling price is higher than the total cost. Usually your selling price is higher than the total cost of raw material and other production inputs, right? Right. Usually it's like that. Now, another student might be thinking, okay, right? What do you call? Will will the selling price be lesser than the production cost of raw material and other components, right? I mean, selling price you cannot set it lower, right? Than your production inputs and raw material, because if you set it lower, then you are at the very beginning itself you are making a loss, right? That is not practical. That is not practical, right? Right? If you're setting your selling price lower than the total cost of raw material and other production inputs, then of course your production cost is very high compared to your selling price. Then at the very beginning itself you are making a loss, and later you have to incur some other costs as well, right? So we will be discussing that as well. So usually your selling price usually is higher than the total cost of raw materials and other production inputs, right? It should be like that, right? So if the production, if the raw material cost to production, other components for production cost is going up, then you need to find ways to reduce that as well. Okay, right? You need to find ways to reduce that as well. Okay, right. Okay, students. So now we have a very good understanding about added value, right? Right. Now, students, next I want to emphasize, right, the difference between added value and the profit generated. Very important, right? Added value, right? Added value versus the profit, right? Added value versus the profit. Okay, right, right. Now, some students think, right, added value and profit, right? Added value and profit, right, are the same concepts, right? Same concepts, right? Added value and profits are the same concepts, right? එක වගේ කියලා හිතනවා. Added value වුයි profit කියන්නේ දෙකම එකයි කියලා. What do you all say? What do you all say? Physical students, what do you all say? Is the concept of added value and profit, is it the same or is it different? Right? Right? What do you all say? Right? Y'all don't have any idea, right? Okay. What about online students? What do you all say? Is the concept of added value and profit, is it the same or is it different? Two different concepts. What do you say? What do you say? Huh? What do you say? Same or two different concepts? Right now, physical students doesn't have any idea, but don't worry, I'll be teaching you. Right? I'm just getting an idea, right? Online students, what can you say? Profit and added value, are these two similar concepts, the same concepts, or two different? Right? Yes, these are different concepts, right? Not similar. These are different, right? Right? These are different. Then what is profit, students? Right? Right? What is profit? Right? So let's read it. Right? What is profit? Right? So they have given a small description. Added value shows how much extra worth, right, the business has created during the production process. However, added value is not the same as profits. Two difference, right? Two different concepts, right? Two different concepts, right? Okay. Then what is profit? What do you mean by profit? Right? So you calculate the profit in your accounting class, no? Right? You calculate your profit in your accounting class in your income statement, right? Okay. Right? Then what is profit? Let's read. Profit is what? Profit is what remains after all expenses are paid. After all expenses are paid. Can you remember I told you, right? Right. When we are calculating added value, right? Right. When we are calculating added value, we are very specifically subtracting the cost of production inputs, the cost of production inputs, raw materials and other components which will be directly being used for the production, right? Right. Apart from that, there are some other costs that the company will incur, right? That the company will incur, right? Like what, right? The salaries of the employees who are working in the organization in different business functions, right? Right. Right. Can we get their can we get their work for free of charge? No, we have to pay their salaries. We can't say these workers are not working in the production department, so that we cannot pay. No, we cannot do that. Right. So the workers' salary or the other salary, the salary cost of other employees has to be considered other expenses. On top of that, utility expenses, your electricity, right, water, are utilities, right? Then transport expenses, right? Transport expenses, right? So likewise, students, the business will definitely incur some other expenses as well, right? So when you are calculating the profits, right, when you are calculating the profits, right, you have to consider all the other expenses as well, right? All the other expenses as well, right? So let me go to the calculation, and then I will explain you a bit more, right? Okay, right? Okay, right? Okay, right? Right. So up to now we have calculated added value, right? Up to now we have calculated added value, right? Okay. Added value is calculated, right? Okay. Now students, we are gonna calculate the profit, right? For the profit, you have to consider the other expenses that you incur, right? Right. Right. Other expenses that you incur, right? In terms of processing the what do you call the production, and also on top of that to market it, for branding, for distribution, until it goes to the customer, you might incur certain expenses. Those expenses has to be considered here, right? So you can say what, right? Right. 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 You have to deduct, right? You have to deduct, right? Or subtract, right? Deduct or subtract, right? Will deduct what? Salaries, right? Right. Salaries, right? Right. Salaries of employees, right? Okay. Let's assume 250 rupees. I'm just assuming, okay, don't worry. 250, right? What else? Utility expenses, right? Utility expenses, right? Utility expenses, right? Right. Let's assume 100 rupees, right? Right. Then let's say transport expenses, because you have to transport these finished goods to the market, right? Transport expenses, right? Let's say 150, right? Okay, right, right. So I've taken only three set of components, right? So if you deduct everything, how much? From 700, you have 200, 300, 400, 450, 500, right? Okay. So this constitutes to 500, right? From added value, you have to deduct other expenses which you incur, which is 500 rupees. If you deduct it, right, you have your final profit as what? 200 rupees. 200 rupees. This is what? This is your profit. This is your profit. This is your profit, right? Let me put a star mark here. Right. Now, if you look at this very clearly, students, you can see the difference between added value and profit. Those two are two different concepts. We are in added value, right? From the selling price, we are going to deduct or subtract the inputs of production, right? The inputs, the cost of inputs that you use for production, which includes raw materials and other components, right? And then from the added value, right, you have to deduct, you will be incurring other expenses, right? Right? Other expenses until the product reaches the market. You'll be incurring other expenses, right? Right. And there are different business functions, right? Those business functions will also support the production, the process, right? To take the product to the market, all those expenses have been considered. And once you deduct all those expenses, other expenses, then you will incur your profit. You will get your profit, not incur, you will arrive at your profit. Right now you can see added value is a different concept and profit is a different concept, right? So you can put this down in your notebook. You can put this down in your notebook. Just take 1 minute, put it down in your notebook. Go ahead. Go ahead. And if you all have any clarification, students, please do let me know, right? If you want to clarify certain things, please do let me know. I can just uh, reconcile it once again, right? All good? Right. Go ahead. Now, students, you can fill this blank. What can you say? So, profit is usually blank than added value. What can you say? Profit is usually blank than added value. Now tell me whether profit is higher than the added value or whether the profit is lesser than added value. What can you say? What can you say? Tell me. Tell me. Now you know the concept, right? Right? Whether profit is higher than the added value or whether the profit is lesser than the added value. What can you say? Hmm? What can you say, students? Online students? Online students? Right? Yes, right? Yes. The profit is lesser. The profit is lesser than the added value. Now, you know the reason why the profit is less, because you are taking all the other expenses into consideration. But when you're calculating added value, you are taking those raw materials and other component or the production cost of the inputs, right? Okay. Because profit is what is left after paying all other business expenses, right? 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 All the other expenses, right? So that of course you know from the calculation, right? So students, that marks the end of production process and added value, right? So this is the end of this particular part of the lesson, right, students? So I mean, we have achieved a very good milestone where lesson 1 is a very big lesson, right? So normally I will be teaching you lesson 1 in two parts, part A and part B. Part A is the most important part, which will cover closer to 80% of your lesson 1 content. So in that case, in lesson 1 we have completed 80% is done, and part A of lesson 1 we have just now concluded, right? So next week we will be starting part B, right? Next week we will be starting part B, right? So basically in that we will be talking about business environment, which is a very small part and also an important part, right? The balance 20% of lesson 1, right? Okay. So now before we finish off this particular part of lesson 1, right? As a practice, we will be discussing past paper questions which has been tested from this particular part, right? On each tute, we do that, right? Okay. So students, in that case, without further delay, we'll go to the past paper questions, right? We'll move on to the past paper questions, right? We'll move on to the past paper questions, right? We'll move on to the past paper questions. So I have, okay, right. Test your knowledge, right? Okay, right. Now students, this is a good way of reconciling what you have learned. Right now, we learned lots of concepts. Right, it has been closer to, I think, 2 months. Right, we have been learning different types of concepts. Right, which is into business, the fundamentals. Right, now we need to apply the knowledge that we have. We need to apply the knowledge that we have obtained to these questions. Right now, these are the questions which I have not made. Right, these are the questions which has been tested in your advanced level examination. So while doing these questions, students, you will get an understanding of what type of questions, what is the difficulty level of questions that will be tested in your examination. All right, so it's a very good learning activity for you. Right now, don't now, since this is the first time that you are, what you call, trying the past paper questions, right? uh, Sometimes you might feel uh, these past paper questions are difficult, they're so hard. Right, don't take it in that point of view. Right, take it as a positive thing. Right, because rather than you going for the examination and screwing things up, right, you can actually, what do you call, practice these questions, and then you can make mistakes. Right, you can make mistakes. Right, even though you make mistakes, you're not, it will not cost you anything. Right, you can make mistakes while doing these questions. When you make mistakes, you can learn from it. That's what matters. That's the importance of attempting these past paper questions. Right, okay. All right, students, so we'll start from 2025 advanced level. Right, which is the very latest advanced level examination that we had. So I have put those questions also here. So we'll start from 2025 advanced level. Question number one. Question number one. Okay, right. Now I'm going to give you 2 minutes. Quickly, you need to tell me the answer. Quickly, go ahead. Attempt question number one. Go ahead. Your time is up. Okay. What's the answer? What's the answer? Let's read. Which of the following best describes a business fulfilling an economic activity? Right. An economic activity. Right. Okay. Right. So we discuss this concept. Right. Right. We discussed this concept called economic activity. Right. Okay. Right. Right. So basically, uh, there are normal activities that you do. Right. There are economic activities that you do. Right. Right. So economic activities are those activities that we conduct to satisfy human needs and wants, and for that you have a price. Right, you have a price, you earn something out of it. Okay, so that is an economic activity. Okay, right. So anyway, what's the answer? Yes, what's the answer, students? Right, okay, let's read. Exchange, engaging in community development projects? Not really. Right, 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 not really. Okay, so I'm getting some answers also. Right, not correct. Right. Number two, exchanging goods and services with a profit orientation. Oh, exchanging goods and services. We are exchanging goods and services with customers to satisfy their needs and wants. And for that, we have a price, right? So from you continuously exchange goods and services and you make a profit, right? So that's the answer, right? That's the answer, right? Very good, very good. To all the students who got the right answer. How many of you all got the right answer? Right? Yes, Evin has got the right answer. Very good, Evin. Keep it up. Superb, right? Physical students. All right, almost everyone has got the right answer, right? Very good, right? You have to keep it up. You have to keep it up. Okay, right? Okay. So let's read the other answers also, students. Right now, when you are doing past paper questions, you got to know why the other answers are wrong. That is also another learning point, right? Why the other answers are wrong. Okay. Conducting employee appreciation programs, right? No, we are not only, I mean, I mean, economic activity doesn't involve in appreciating employees. No, not right. Right. We're dealing with uh, customers, right? Okay. And then carrying out recycling activities to safeguard the environment? Not really. And promoting activities to preserve the culture? Right? No. Right? Okay. So most of the concepts which is being told here, preserving the environment, employee welfare, preserving the culture, all those things, students, we will be learning in lesson number 2. Right. We will be learning in lesson number 2, business ethics, corporate governance. Right. In that, we will be learning uh, how to become a good corporate citizen. If you're doing business, making profits is not the only thing, but on top of that, you have other activities. These are the other activities. So we will be looking at those in a deeper concept. Anyway, you have got the answer. Very nice. Good. Let's move on to question number 2. Right. Once again, uh, I'm going to give you another 2 more minutes. Quickly give me the answer. Quickly give me the answer. Go ahead. Okay, fine. Okay, right. So, so they have given some goods and services. They have listed some goods and services, right? Okay, right. So, A, food, cutting hair, education, promotion, television, clothes, training, inventory, renting vehicles, computer, right? All those things have been given. Okay. Now, what are they asking? From the above, what is the option that contains? From the above, what is the option that contain only services? Right? What is the option that contains only services? Okay, right? Okay, only services, right? Food is not a service, it's a good, right? Cutting hair, it's a service. Educating others, it's a service. Right? Promotion, it's a service, right? What do you mean by promotion, students, right? What do you mean by promotion? Promotion means, right, when you make a particular product, right? It could be a physical good, or when you provide a service, right, you got to promote it among the customers so that the customers will be I mean, the customers will know that there's a product like this. Okay, right. So once you promote, only the customers will be I mean, will get to know that there's a product like this in the market, and then only they will come, right? Okay, so that is called promotion, right? So you do a lot of things for promotions. You uh, I mean, hand over leaflets, what do you call, you do a lot of television campaigns, radio campaigns, no, right? Through social media you do advertisements, right? All those things are done just to create awareness about a product. So it's also sort of service, right? Television, no, it's a good. Clothes, good. Training, it's a service, right? Okay. And then you have inventory, it's a good, right? Inventories, right? Physical ones, no, tangible. Renting vehicles, it's a service like Uber, Pick Me, no, right? Okay. So what's the answer? B, C, D, G, I. B, C, D, G, I. Answer is answer number 4. B, C, D, G, I. Yes, very good. Very good. Right. So how many of you all got the right answer? Physical students? Yes. Wow, almost everyone has got the right answer. Right. Right. Online students, yes, Evin, you are correct. You have got the right answer. I think everyone deserves a big round of applause, right? Right. Very good, right? Okay. So you got to maintain that same momentum. You have to be happy. If you get the right answer, you got to be happy, which means you have learned the concept correctly. All right. Keep it up. Very good. Right. Okay. Question number 3. Okay. Right. Now, students, this is actually in 2025 advanced level, right? This was tested from your second paper, right? Right. Now, you know, the first 2 questions that we did, those were MCQ questions. Those are coming from the first paper, right? And essay questions, that is the question paper that you write, your second paper, right? So in your second paper, you will be getting these types of questions where uh, the question is based on a particular story, right. The question is based on a particular story. They give uh, description, they give a description about a particular person who has started a business, right? And then from that story, they will give a lot of description about how the business is working, what are the activity it does, right? So from those they will be testing questions. Okay, right. Right. So students, these are called scenario based questions. Listen to me very carefully. because this is the first time that you are what you call experiencing this type of a question, because you all might not have done the papers earlier, right? So when you're doing this type of a question, students, right, don't get confused, right? Don't get confused. Okay, right? Don't get confused, right? So if you get these types of questions, don't get confused, right? What you need to do is, in these scenario based questions, right, you have to read very clearly, right? Right? You have to read these questions very, very clearly, right? You have to read what are the facts which is being given in the question, right? What are the facts which is being given in the question? Because when you're reading, you got to highlight those important points, right? And those important points could be used for your answer points, right? Right? So you don't have to look elsewhere. You don't have to look elsewhere, right? Just read it, underline the most important facts, and then use those as the answer points, right? That is a simple technique that you can use rather than getting confused, right? So use that technique, right? Okay. So first, right? First, let's read the description which is being given based on the guidance which I have given you, right? First, let's read it. Okay. Okay. Best Leaves a Hotel. They're talking about a hotel. Best Leaves Hotel was founded by two engineers. Wow. Right. Two engineers. They have founded the company called Best Leaves, who are new to the industry. They are very new to the industry. Engineers, no, right? They might not know much about business, and they are new to the industry as well, the hotel industry. It employs 50 experienced and skilled permanent and daily paid employees. Ooh, very good, right? So which means this gives us a hint that in this organization, right, you have skillful employees. How many? 50, who provide a dedicated services to the industry arm, right? They provide a good service to the industry. However, the owners have observed that the turnover of the daily paid employee is above the industry average. What do you mean by turnover, students? What do you mean by turnover? Turnover means employee turnover means, students, this is the rate at which people are moving out of your organization. අපි කියන අර resign වෙනවා කියලා කියන්නේ ව්‍යාපාරේ නේ, right? Company එකේ resign වෙලා යනවා, right? They give the resignation and they quit the job. They go out of the company. That is called the turnover, right? So if the employee turnover is high, that's an alarming situation. Then there is something wrong. Why the people are not happy? They come and after a few days they leave, right? So turnover of the daily paid employees is above the industry average, right? The hotel makes sure that its customers' privacy is always protected. Oh, right, in a hotel, right? Even you also go to a hotel, you would request more privacy. You're going there to relax, to be with your family, right? So you want more privacy. So they're making sure that customer privacy is always protected while they are treated respectfully. Oh, all the customers are treated respectfully, right? Without favoring any customer, every customer is being treated equally and respectfully, irrespective of what religion that they are in, what culture that they come from. The hotel always ensures that accommodation of the guest is clean. Exactly. Oh, this is one of the things which I also what do you call request. If I go to a hotel, I would look at whether the accommodation is clean, whether the rooms are clean, whether it's in hygiene condition, right? So they're maintained very good, safe and elegant. The rooms are cleaned, and then they're safe and they're elegant, nicely what do you call organized, right? Okay, all those things. While food served delicious. Wow, food is also served uh, in a what do you call, the food is very delicious, right? And they serve organic and healthy to meet customer expectations. right? Okay, so they serve organic food, not junk food and all, right? Organic food, right? Okay, by using nutritious ingredients, no, right? Healthy ingredients, because nowadays customers will expect that, right? Right, rather than serving junk food. Although the government promote tourism through foreign embassies and other promotional campaigns, there's a resistance posed by certain groups to the tourism industry. Okay, so sort of a resistance, right? Okay, fine. Okay, now students, this is how you tackle this type of a question, right? You have to read it like a story, right? Right, right. Now you don't have to read it loud in your examination hall just like me, right? Okay, you have to read, right? You have to read, ne? එළිය කෑ ගහන්න නැතුව නේ හිමීට කියවන්න, right? Okay, right? Okay, so you have to read it and you have to do this activity, right? Highlight the most important points that you feel, right? Later, we'll see how we are going to use these points as answer points here, right? Okay, fine. Let's go. All right. Question number one. Okay, question number one. Indicate two customer needs fulfilled by the Best Lives Hotel, right? Indicate two customer needs fulfilled by the Best Lives Hotel. Okay, right? So tell me, needs. Two customer needs. Tell me, right? Right. What can you say? Right. Right. Now they have asked you to indicate, right? Very important. These words are also very important, right? Okay. Right. Right. So I will give you around 2 minutes. Just put the answer, right? Like 1 minute is also enough. Quickly tell me what are the answers. What are the needs that you find here? What are the customer needs that you find here? So what are the answers that you can tell me? Right. Okay. Needs. I've got some answers, right? I've got some answers, right? Okay. Right. Okay. Yes. What are the needs? Right. So needs, of course, you can take what? So this is a hotel, right? In the description, it says, right? Right. In the description, it says they provide good food, right? Delicious food, right? Organic and healthy food. Can you see what I have underlined here? Now take them as answer points. I told you when you underline, you can take them as answer points, the important ones. So they're asking only the needs, right? So you can say food, right? You can write food, right? Food. What else, right? What else, right? Then and it says, right, the hotel always ensures accommodation of the guest is clean. They are providing shelter, isn't it? Right, 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 right. Shelter, food, shelter, right? Okay, right. They are providing good accommodation for the customers to come and stay, right? Okay. And then another very good answer, Evin gave me a very good answer, safety and privacy. Very good answer. Because in the description it says, right, the hotel always ensures that the accommodation are clean and safe, and the customer privacy is always protected. Safe, safety and privacy, right? Right. You can say safety, right? Right. Safety or security, right? Right, right. So these are the different types of needs that I could pick from the description, right? So, but they have asked you to give two, but I have given you three. Okay, fine. Okay. So we'll move on to the next question. Okay, right. Now they are asking you to mention two customer wants the Best Lives Hotel focuses on. Now they are asking wants. Earlier they tested the knowledge about needs, right? which we nicely understood and we nicely wrote an answer. Now they're asking us to mention two types of customer wants. Two types of customer wants, right? So now you can write for each type of need that you have selected, right? Okay, right, right. For food, right? If you take for food, right? For food, right? What type of a want they offer, right? So if you go to the note, right? If you go to the note, if you go to the description, right? Okay, right, okay, right. So we underlined it, no? Where is it? Right, okay, right. And here you go, right? If you take food, if you take food, food is a need, but it could be satisfied in different ways. Those are called wants. So you can write the first want. It says organic and healthy food, right? Right. When it comes to food, somebody might want to have organic or healthy food like these salads, right? Vegetarian dishes, right? Uh, uh, different types of vegan burgers, right? Or healthy burgers, right? All those things are there. If you go to hotel, you have all these things, right? So organic and healthy food, right? You can take it as a want, right? You can take it as a want, right? Organic and healthy food, right? Okay, right. So different ways of satisfying the need for food, right? Right. What else, right? So they have asked us to write two wants, right? Two wants. What else you can find here? What else you can find here? What else you can find here? You can write here, right? Okay. So they are providing a elegant accommodation, right? Right. Not a very basic level of accommodation. Elegant means what? Elegant, safe, clean accommodation. No, you can write that also, right? When it comes to accommodation, like shelter, no, right? Shelter is the need, right? Okay. So some hotels, they might provide a very basic level of accommodation, right? Basic level of accommodation, right? Where you don't have AC, right? Right. You have a fan and you have a bed, right? And then you have an attached bathroom. That's the basic level. But in here, they are trying to satisfy your need for accommodation or shelter, I would say, in a different way, in a very clean, safe, and in a very elegant manner. What do you mean by elegant, right? Elegant means like very eye-catching, attractive way, right? Right? Some of you all might have been to hotels, right? When you go to the room, you feel like it's like a palace, no? Right? Right? You have a very nice bed, right? A very comfy bed, right? Attractive antiques are there, chairs. Even if you go to the bathroom, like it's fully modernized, elegant, right? So you can choose whether to satisfy the need for shelter in the very basic way or in an elegant way. Right? Safe, clean, and elegant accommodation, right? Right? Accommodation, right? So those are two types of bonds that you can find. So I'm actually now, can you see students, right? Now what I want to emphasize is I'm getting all these answers by simply looking at the description which is being given and by simply looking at the answer points that I have highlighted, isn't it? Right? I didn't think anything outside the description which is being given. No, not needed. Right? මම මේකෙන් එහාට ගිය උත්තර මම මුකුත් ගත්තේ නෑනේ නේද? ඔක්කොම ගත්තේ මේ description එකෙන්. That's why this description is given. When you are given this description, read it once, twice, or thrice. That's fine. Because this is where you get majority of the answer points. So in that case, you don't feel lost. So I want to teach these techniques right from the very beginning itself, because by the time we end our 2.5 years of session, you'll be able to score very well. Okay, right. And also the other thing is, students, in these questions, they are asking different activities for you to do. Either it could be to indicate or mention, right? Now, when they ask for you to indicate or mention, they are not expecting you to elaborate or describe your answer. නේ අපි සාමාන්‍යයෙන් කියන සමහර answer points අපි ඒක describe explain කරන්න. No, in here indicating and mentioning means, right, they're asking you to list down, note it down only. You don't have to explain, right? Okay, very important. The requirement you need to understand, right? Because some people, some students, they don't understand the requirement and they start explaining all the questions in the second paper. And then what happens? They lose time. So in that case, you got to be very smart. You have to read what is the requirement. If it is to indicate, then you indicate. No need to explain. Mention, just mention. Can you see, even for these answers, I have given the marks which is been allocated also. The other thing is, students, you got to look at the marks which is been allocated as well, right? Because for a small question which requires for you to indicate, they will give you only 2 marks. For 2 marks, you don't have to explain for like two full scap papers. No point, waste of time. For you to get 2 marks, just in 2 lines, just list down. That's it. Because for explanation questions, you get more marks, like 4 marks, 5 marks, 6 marks. Those questions, I will let you know how to do those, right? That's the trick. You got to look at 2 things when you see the question, right? What is the requirement and what is the mark which is been allocated? Now, these are the marks which has been actually allocated in the paper, okay? What is the requirement and what is the mark? Based on that, you have to plan your answer. Understood? Right, okay, fine. Okay, so even here mention means 2 marks, right? Okay, right. Then we'll move on to the third question, students. We'll move on to the third question. State 2 ways the Best Leaves Hotel can contribute for the development of the economy, right? The development of the economy. Okay, state 2 ways Best Leaves Hotel can contribute for the development of the economy. Okay, so what can you say? What can you say? This, of course, a very straightforward question that we discussed in our TUT, right? How businesses are contributing to the economy. Apply the same knowledge for this particular description, right? So I will give you, now in here also, they are asking you to state. They're asking you to state, right? They're asking you to state. Stating means just list down. No need to explain. And they are giving you only 2 marks. List down is enough. So I will give you around 2 minutes. Quickly give me the answer. Go ahead. Go ahead. Very good, right? I've got some very good answers, right? From Evin, right? My online student, right? Very good, right? So Evin, very nice answers. We'll discuss. Okay, right. Okay. So students, what are the answers that you can write? The first things first, right? Right. The first answer point you can write. How Best Leaves Hotel is contributing for the development of the economy, right? Right. Job creation, no, right? Creating employment opportunities, job creation, right? Right, right, right. In a hotel, anyway, you have lots of jobs coming in to the market, right? Right, right. Okay, right. It could be for front office, or it could be for kitchen, right? It could be for what you call accommodation maintenance, whatever you name it, you create lots of jobs. Isn't it good for the economy? Yes, it's good, right? So any question, students, if they ask how businesses are helping for the economy, the first answer point should be job creation, right? So Evin, you have got the answer correct. Very good. Very nice. Superb, right? You're on point. Very good. I hope all my physical students have also got the answer, right? Okay, right. Number 2, what else? Right, what else? How they are contributing to the economy, right? Right. Now, through this hotel, they are providing a service. Is it free of charge? No, right? for the service that they offer, right? They're providing organic food, good accommodation, safe accommodation, eliganaka, good experience they're providing. So for that, customers will pay some money, right? Right. So in that case, Best Leaves Hotels actually generating income for the gross domestic product of the country, right? Right. Can you remember, right? Uh, Gross domestic product means what? The value of the value of the goods being manufactured and the value that is being generated through service provision, right? So they're actually contributing to the economy. They're actually contributing to the gross domestic product of the country, right? The GDP, right? Okay, so you can write, right? That of course you can write under economic growth, contribution to the economic growth, right? Economic growth, right? Right. Through to GDP contribution, right? Right. Right. Economic growth, right? Right. Contributing to the economic growth through the GDP contribution, right? Okay. So this is they are providing a service that will add value, right? And also on top of that, Evin has actually nicely connected the answer point, right, to the description. He says like this, right? Promoting tourism also, exactly, right? Right. So they are into promoting tourism as well. That is good for the industry, right? Right. That is good for the industry, right? So they have good hotels, they bring the customers in, and they are promoting the tourism industry, right? If you're providing a good service, some foreigners or some local visitors, they will come for the name of your hotel, right? So that brings more revenue for the country, for the economy, for the tourism industry. That is also a good thing for the economy. The tourism industry, you are contributing to the well-being of the tourism industry. That's also a very good answer point, right? You can write, right? Okay, very good answer point, Evin, right? Right. That's what you need to do. You have to connect your answers with the description. Very good. Okay, very good. Right, contributing, right? Contributing for the development or promotion of tourism industry. Tourism industry. This is actually a very good answer point. Actually, you can take this answer point as the first answer point, right? Right. Evin has very nicely connected that answer point, right, to the description. Very good, Evin. Keep that up, right? Very happy, right? Okay, good, right? So students, and then on top of that, we can write another answer point. Okay, answer number 4, taxes, right? Through taxes, right? Right. Best Leaves Hotels will make profits. Why? A lot of customers are coming in. Right now, a lot of revenue is being generated, and from that, they are paying taxes to the economy. That is also another way a business could contribute to the economy. So, students, I have given you 4 answer points. They have asked only 2. Right now, is it very hard? Now, these essay questions, is it very hard? No, right? But if you don't know the technique of finding the answer points, then it will be very hard. Then it will be very hard. Okay, right? So you got to learn the technique first, right? If you learn the technique very well in business studies, you can score really, really well, right? In second papers, like I did, you follow the same method. Read the description once. If you don't understand, read it twice. If you don't understand, that's fine. Read it thrice also. And underline the main points which you think is important. Use those main points as your answer points. Simple as that, right? Okay, that's how you answer in a smart way in your business studies paper. Okay, right? So likewise, we will learn lots of techniques while we go ahead, right? Okay, right? So students, I'm very happy how you all have answered. Evin gave us very good answers. Physical students, all of you all gave very good answers. Keep that up. That's what matters. Keep that momentum up. Now you feel like the things that you have learned actually you are applying. Okay, right. All right. So we'll move on to question number. We'll move on to 2024 advanced level question number 1. Right, right. So I will give you around 2 minutes. Quickly give me the answer. Quickly give me the answer. So you all can put the answer, students. Right. So let's read. Okay. So they have given a list of goods and services once again, right? They have given a list of services once again, goods and services, right? I think this type of a question we did in 2025 also, right? This is a common question, right? From that they are asking the option that contains only services, right? Okay, what's the answer? Newspaper not a service, healthcare yes, clothing no, legal advocacy. What do you mean by legal advocacy? That is called legal, legal service that you provide. Now, if you go to a lawyer, right? If you take a lawyer is actually a professional in that area, in the legal background. He has knowledge about laws and regulations and all those things, right? So he will give advices, right? Based on the case that you have, he will give advices what to do and what not to do. That is called legal advocacy or legal advice, the same thing. Okay. Education, yes, it's a service. Vegetables, no. Big no. Social media, yes, right? Social media like Facebook, WhatsApp, uh, Instagram, right? Okay, right? All those things are providing service, right? Right? Entertainment, they're entertaining you. Okay, right. So what's the answer? What's the answer? B, D, E, and G. Answer number 3. Yes, very good, Evin. You have got the right answer. Physical students, all of you all have got the right answer. Very good, right? Cool. Now, students, this type of a question will be there in your examination also. This is a very popular question, right? The very popular question. Now, in 2025 also we had it, 2024 also we have, right? Right. So these types of questions, very easy to score it. Okay, right. Okay, right. Second question. Okay, I will give you another 2 minutes. Right. Hold on. Let me see. There are another. Then we have a second paper question. All right. Okay, fine. Okay. Right. I will give around 2 minutes to question number 2 of 2024 and put the answer on the chat. Fine. What's the answer? What's the answer? Right. Okay. They have given some inputs. Okay. So now we know a lot about inputs, right? Okay. Right. Under production process we discussed. Okay. Inputs are given use for the production, land, competency, staff, information, knowledge, entrepreneurship, raw material, inventory. From the above, what is the option that contains only intangible inputs? So students, what do you mean by intangible? Right. Right. If you take this, right, this is tangible. Ne? We can touch it, physically touch it. Intangible means you cannot touch because you can't see it actually. Okay. So what are the intangible ones? Land, of course, no, it's tangible. Competency, right? Yes, competency means your skills, no, right? Another word for competency means your skills, right? Right? The skills that you have, right? The skills that you have, right? So this is correct. Staff, no. Information, yes. Intangible, if you take information, right? Those are saved in backups and all those cloud and all those facilities, but it's not tangible. Knowledge, yes, intangible, right? The knowledge that you have, danuma, right? Danuma. Competency or skills, nipunata, right? Entrepreneurship, yes. Raw materials, no, right? Okay, so what's the answer? B, D, E, F. Answer number 2, right? Very good, right? Evin has got the right answer, right? Superb, right? Keep it up. Physical students, keep it up. All right, okay, good. Okay, we'll move on to question number 3. Once again, what? What do you call a description based or a scenario based question? Okay, now you know the trick. Read, underline, use the points as answer points, right? Okay, fine. Let's read. Amanda is an owner manager. Right, right. Owner manager. What do you mean by that? A new position. I know, which means owner manager means Amanda is the owner of a business, and also she is the person who is managing the business also. She doesn't have anyone under her to manage the business. Okay, right? Now, normally in a small business, I mean, for you to get employees to work under you, it will cost you a lot. Ne? You have to pay them salaries and all. At the very beginning of a business, you might not have that much of money. So in that case, you do everything. You start the business, you manage the business, you make the accounts. Likewise, okay. Amanda is an owner manager of a fast food outlet. Okay, fast food, you know better than me. She sells healthy organic food. Wow, I never heard of that. She's into fast food, but she sells healthy organic fast food. Okay, and she accepts orders via online. She orders via online also the orders, right? However, the sales volume of organic food has declined. Oh, why is that? Due to the country's economic instability. Oh, right, due to the country's economic instability, right? Country's economy is not doing good, so then it's not good for business. Competition from foreign franchises and the legal restrictions on the use of plastic containers. Right, and consequently she decided to lay off. Oh, very bad. Lay off means what? To ask certain employees to leave. Okay, right. Answer points are there, right? Okay, now they have asked two questions, right? Now when they ask two questions, first you need to look at, I told you there are two things. What is the requirement? Is it to explain or is it to list down? And what is the amount of marks which is being given? Okay, right. Okay. So now students, I will give you around 2 minutes. Quickly give me the answers and after that I will discuss. Go ahead. Quickly. 2 minutes, huh? Right. We'll discuss. Okay. Right. So the first one, they're asking, what is the production sector Amanda's business belongs to? Right. Give a reason for your answer as well. Okay. Right. 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 So basically they are asking, can you remember? We discussed the classification of business. Right, we discussed the classification of business, and from that they're testing this question, and they're asking what is the sector that Amanda's business, which is a fast food outlet, what is the sector that it belongs, and then what is, and they're asking for you to give a reason as well. Okay, right. So we'll just go to the note, right? Okay, right, right. So we'll go to the note actually, right, right. Classifications, right, right. I just want to show you, right, how they have tested it, right. Right, right. New trends, the classification. We did at the last. Here you go, right? Very important. Now they're asking for you to classify businesses or Amanda's business, Amanda's fast food outlet based on the sector. Very important, students, because this is where a lot of students go wrong, right? Right. There are two important, I mean, we have actually 5 bases. Out of those 5 bases, there are 2 bases, which is actually, what do you call, some students, they misjudge, right? So we classified businesses based on the nature of production, which is primary, secondary, and tertiary, right? And then we classified businesses once again based on the production sector that you're in. Based on what you produce, you'll be put into a sector, right? Can you remember? Right? Right? Can you remember? Right? Based on the central bank report, right? Right? The economic activities are put into three categories, right? Or three sectors, I would say, right? Sectors are. Now, they're testing this question from here, right? Don't go and write primary, secondary, or tertiary. That's wrong. That is based on the nature. This is based on the sector. Okay, right. So based on the sector, students, you have what? Agriculture, forestry, and fishing, right? Let me make it some more bigger, right? Right. Now, can you see? Based on the sector, you have number one, agriculture, forestry, and fishing. Of course, Amanda's business will not go into this. They are not into agriculture. They are not into farming, forestry, or fishing. No, nothing. Right? They are into fast food outlet. Right? Then what? The second is into what? Into industries. Right? So very specifically, we are taking businesses who are into manufacturing and construction. They will be taken here, right? Under industries, right? Under industries, right? Those who are processing something, right? 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 Those who are processing something, manufacturing something, right? Right? So in that case, Amanda's business will not go under industries also, right? Then the third category, you have the services, right? So most probably Amanda's business will go under this because she's having a fast food outlet, right? She's having a fast food outlet, right? So if you read, you have, here you go, accommodation, food and beverage service activities, right? Computer, financial, estate, right? Okay, right? So all the food related, restaurant, all those activities are coming onto this category, right? So what is the sector? Services, right? What is the sector? Services, right? Right? Okay. So you have to write the answer, right? Services sector, right? Services sector. You cannot write tertiary because tertiary category is coming under the classification of the nature of production. Nature. Okay. But in here, they are asking the classification from the sectors, right? According to the sectors, you have what? Three sectors: agriculture, forestry and fishing, industries and services, right? So you have to very specifically look into what is the classification that they require, right? Okay. So we have a question, right? So Evan, did you understand that? That's why I told you some students might get confused. Now, did you understand why it was not classified under tertiary? Because that is under the classification of the nature of production, but this is they are requesting from the sectors, production sector. Understood? So it should be services, right? So very important, students, don't, since we have done the concept very well, don't confuse. Okay, right? It's okay to confuse now you know how to tackle it. Okay, right, good. So any questions, physical students? You all don't have any questions? All good, right? All right, okay, fine. Right. I think some of you all have also, I saw some of you all have also the same answer as tertiary. Right. Now you know what's the correct answer. Okay, right, good. So if you have any problem, students, you can refer the note. In the note, you have everything. Not to worry. Okay. You have everything. Not to worry. Let me make it smaller. Right. Okay. So we'll go down. Okay. Right. Okay. Then let's move on to the next question. Let's move on to the next question. Okay. Right. State 4 ways that Amanda's business can contribute to the growth of the economy. Once again, students, the same question has been tested over and over again, right? So I'm pretty sure that you will get the same question in your examination as well, right? Right. So in that case, students, please highlight these questions which has been tested over and over. Can you remember in MCQs we had, uh, they have given a list of goods and services. From that they have asked us to find the option which has all the services or all the goods. Common question. This is also another common question, how a business would contribute to the growth of the economy, right? So basically we don't really have to discuss now, we know the answers, right? What are the answers, students? Now in here actually they have asked to state, right? No need to explain. If they have asked you to state it, why are you going to explain it? No, not needed to explain. They're giving only 2 marks. So you state 4 ways, right? Okay. So what are the ways that you can write? Number 1, right? The most popular answer, creation of jobs, right? Creating jobs, right? What else? Number 2, she's into the fast food industry, right? She's contributing to the GDP, right? Contributing to GDP. Make sure that you write the long form, gross domestic product, right? Right? Gross domestic production, gross domestic production, right? In your exam, make sure that you write long answers, not short forms, right? Number 3, you can write what else, right? Paying taxes, paying taxes. No, she's doing a business, she's paying taxes, right? Right. So likewise, students, you can write 3 to 4 answer points, right? You can write 3 to 4 answer points from the list which I have given, right? Okay. And also another answer point you can write, students. Now, now in here, of course, you cannot take that answer point because now Amanda is actually laying off employees, right? So that's actually bad. But in any organization, if you have employees, you develop their skills. That is also a good thing for the growth of the economy. Then you, as a business organization, you help. As a business organization, you help the development of skills in the economy, right? So that is good. If you have skilled employees in the economy, that will be good. That will contributes to the growth of the economy, right? That of course, that answer point, of course, you cannot write here because they are very specifically talking about Amanda's business, and she's actually into the point of laying off some of the staff. Okay, right, okay. And so those are the answers, students, you can write. Okay, right. I have given you like a list of answers, like around 8 to 10 answers in the tute. You can find very good 4 answers and you can write. Okay, right. Okay. Then students will move on to 2023 advanced level, right? Okay. So we have three MCQ questions, right? Right. 3 MCQ questions. I will give you around 5 minutes. And then we'll discuss. Go ahead. Right. What are the answers? 2023 advanced level, right? Okay. First question. Following are, so you can put the answer points in the chat also. Physical students, right? You can let me know the answers. Following are some examples for needs and wants, right? Okay. From the above, what is the option that contains only wants? Okay. Health is a need. Shelter is a need. Clothing is a need. Laptops is a want, right? It's a want. Soft drinks, it's a want. I mean, either you can have a tea or either you can have a soft drink or either you can have a milkshake, whatever. Those are all wants. Mobile phones, wants. Storybooks, food is need. So what's the answer? D, E, F, H, D, E, F, D, E, F, G, sorry, D, F, G. So answer is answer number 5. Okay, right. These are very straightforward questions, right? Question number 2, right? Question number 2, from the following, select the option that correctly states an attribute of a service. Attribute of a service. Service is something which is not tangible, it's intangible. Service is intangible, right? So you know what are the options, right? So select the option that correctly states an attribute of a service. Services are not tangible, wrong, right? This is wrong, right? Not tangible, right? You cannot touch a service, right? Number 2, transferable, right? Right. Number 2, transferable, right? Right. Can you transfer a service? You can't, right? Because the person who is providing the service and the service, right, will be the same. No, now, I mean, in my case, I'm doing a lecture, right? And then another person cannot come and just deliver the lecture in the way that I would deliver. So you cannot transfer. You cannot transfer, right? It's not transferable. Services are not transferable. Product, I mean, goods, of course, you can. You give a book to someone, you give your mobile phone to someone. Returnable, no, you can't. Services cannot be returnable, right? Okay, right? Like goods, of course, we do that. We as friends, no, right? If you have a pair of shoes, you give your friend to use it for a party, and then the friend will return it. No, returnable. Those are goods. Inseparable. This is the answer. The service and the service provider will be the same, right? Right? Will be the same. You cannot separate the service from the service provider. Like I'm doing the lecture and I'm the service provider. If I stop the class now, then the lecture is over. Inseparable. Imperishable, right? Imperishable, right? Right? Right. So imperishable means අපි කියන කල්ලිකුත් වෙනවා කියලා කියන්නේ නේද? කල්ලිකුත් වෙනවනේ, right? Okay. So services will not have an expiry date or anything. So what's the answer? Answer number 4. Correct. Right. Then service sector in gross domestic product is represented through right? Service sector in the gross domestic product is represented through what? Right? Right. Public sector? No, right? We learned about the classification, no? How to calculate the gross domestic product, right? Right. Either the addition of public, primary sector, secondary, and tertiary, right? Then we calculate the total value created. Or else, according to sector-wise, agriculture, forestry, and fishing, industries, and then we have services. So service sector is classified under GDP, not public sector, not private sector, not primary sector. We did actually discuss, I mean, private sector, of course, based on the ownership, but not used to calculate the GDP. Secondary sector, no. Secondary sector will have all the manufacturing and construction activities. So it's under tertiary sector. All the services will be taken under tertiary sector when we are classifying businesses according to the nature of production, right? Or when we are calculating the GDP according to the nature of the production. Okay, right. Okay, right. Okay, students. So I think that's enough for today, right? That's enough for today. We are right in time. Okay, we are right in time.